Hello and welcome to another video by eTechWise. Today we are going to see how do we install Yonder WMS version 2022 of Discrete on the Windows Server. So let's jump onto it right away. The installation of the WMS Discrete is done in two parts. First, the application server installation, and the second, the portal installation. In this video, we are going to discuss about part 1, which is the application server installation. But before we get into it, let's discuss about the requirements. We have divided it into three parts: the server requirements, the database requirements, and the software requirements. Let's discuss about these individually in order to ensure smooth installation. To make sure that you have the server requirements in place, please make sure that you have Windows Server 2019 or the 2022 version installed on an AMD or an Intel 64-bit box or on a virtual box. Please make sure that you also have enough disk space of about 70 GB and a minimum memory of 16 GB for smooth function. Next comes the database requirements, which could either be an Oracle database or MS SQL Server database. In case it's an Oracle database, please make sure that you have the 19C version installed, the standard or the enterprise edition, and also make sure that you have the right JDBC driver installed, which is compatible with the 19C. In case you are using MS SQL Server database, please make sure that you have the MS SQL 2019 version, which could either be standard or the enterprise edition. If you are planning to use the multiple database server for Mocha or the application server and the refs or the portal server, please make sure that you have the same version of SQL installed. Finally, to meet the software requirements, please make sure that you have the Microsoft .NET Framework 4.8 installed together with 32-bit version of Active Perl or Strawberry Perl. In addition to that, please make sure that we have the JDK 17 and Microsoft JDBC driver 11.2 in case you are using the SQL Server. In order to ensure the smooth installation, let's look at the last few steps of the installation prerequisites, which includes the creation of Windows user, the database creation, and the creation of the database user. So the first one is to create the Windows user. In order to create one, we can go to the server manager and try to open the computer management, where we have the list of all the users created. Now once that window is open up, on the left hand side you can see the list of all the local users and the groups which are in the system. Since I've already created one, let me show you the properties of it so that you know what to expect and what to fill up. So I've named this as WMS 2022 as a user, and Joe's password never expires. Okay, I've left all the rest of the information as it is, and once you click the user, you need to click back again and go to the member of in order to add this to the administrators group. Click for that, we need to click on the add button, write administrators, check on the names, and click on OK to add to the group. Okay, so since I've already added in there, I don't want to do it again. The next step in this is to add this user and give this user as permission to log on as service. Now since this user will be required to run the service as well, it's important to do that step. To do that, click on the search and click on and write down administrative tools. Under administrative tools, click on the local security policy, and once that opens up, under local security policy, click on local policies, the user right assignments, and search for log on as a service. Once you have that open, we make sure that your Windows user is added in there, and for that you can click on user add group or a button, and search for the WMS or the Windows user that you have created. Check on names in order to resolve the name correctly and click on OK. Okay, so in our case we have that added already, so I do not need to do that again. Alright, the next step is to create the database users. In order to do that, in my case I have installed SQL Server 2019. So I click on the Management Studio to open the console. Once I have that open and I've connected to the database, the first step is to create the database. So click on the database, expand the database, do a right click and click on new database. Okay. In my case, I've already created a database for WMS 2022. So let me quickly open the properties of it and show you what are the options that I've chosen. You can follow the same to create yours and have this in place. So the database name I've chosen is same as the username that I have for Windows, but that's not necessary. You can choose any name you wish. So the database name here that I chose is WMS 2022. I've not mentioned anything special to the file names. File groups is all default. Under options, please make sure that you have this option called is read committed snapshot on set to true. Okay, that's it. You need to check in this particular screen. I'll just walk you through all the options that are there and all the permissions which are there in place, so that you have a snapshot of what's there in my case and match yours to do the same. Okay, so I've left the rest of them as default and did not mention anything special or explicitly in there, since I do not have much idea about the database, so I didn't take a chance to take the risk. Okay, so that's about the WMS database that you need to make. The next is to create login user. For that, you go to security, click on logins, and make sure that you have the SA account enabled as well. I'm not sure if it really uses that, but yeah, just make sure that it's lying there activated, and in case it's needed we can use that. So the login name was SA. Reset the password, chosen following options for not to follow the password policy, just to make things simple at my end. Default database as master and language as English. Server roles, public and sysadmin. User mapping, model, master, these are all default that I've left as it is, not made any changes to that, and make sure that it's enabled. Okay, so the one I had created explicitly for this was WMS 2022, which is also the same name as the Windows user, but I've just done this to make things simple, and follow the same name and passwords everywhere. So nothing special in that. In the same fashion, I've given the password, chosen the policies, password policies, default database as WMS, English as language, server roles, public and sysadmin, user mapping. I've also added additionally a refs database which will be used for portal service, but yeah, forget it for now. Given access to the WMS database in here, and make sure that that is DB owner as well. Securables, done no changes, left everything as default. Yep, and status of course needs to be enabled, right? So yeah, that's all that I had done to create a Windows user. Added that to the service account, created the database, and also created a SQL user for the same. Let's quickly look into the directory structure of the installation package. The installation package comes with 4 important files, which you can see on the screen is in the red box. Um, we have the documentation package, we have the client installation package, the portal package, and the server installation package. In addition to these, we need to make sure that we have the license file as well in order to install the application. The screen also shows that I have unzipped all the files for further processing and to start with installation. So without any further ado, let's finally get started with installation. So for that, let's get into the unzipped folder of the server edition. Navigate to the Windows folder and locate the setup file for it. We double click the setup file to start with the installation and follow the instructions. Navigate to the directory of Java 17 installed files. Choose to install the new application server instance. And as a next step, it tries to initialize the Java environment, set up the environment variables for the same. Next. Yes to license agreement, and navigate to the license file. License file validation succeeded. Here we need to give the environment name that we wish to keep for our installation. Choose all, application server, I'll choose all the products here again. Here's the list of all the components installed. Then we have the portal URL, and these portal informations are optional, so if you want you can put it, and else leave it blank, because we are going to install the portal server as a next step. Here it asks for the port numbers. The default port number is usually 4500, but a lot of times it's a reserved port by the operating system. So you can choose 4900 and click next. The system will check if the port is available and allow the subsequent ports for the next requirements as you move ahead. Once the port is checked, it asks you for the service URL, and the way it's divided is that you have the host name, you have the port number and slash service. Okay, auto start, database user authentication. So we had made a database user already to be used here. Change the user to the user that we created. This is the Windows user. You can leave the printer as blank, SMTP as blank, choose SQL Server 2019 in my case. I've chosen advanced. I've mentioned the JDBC URL for your reference. Then we enter the database user and the password. Tries to connect to the database here. We click next on this. The objective of this step is to let the system know that what schemas or what tables would be installed when the schema is created. Okay, so in this case I will only choose US, I will not go for Canada. Although I do not have labor information or labor management system installed, but I'll still have the tables just for my review and to see what are the options available. And yeah, then click on next. Load warehouse TM integration data. Yeah, I would want to see what the integrator has in terms of integrating it with the transport management system, even if I don't have that installed. I can choose the language options. Review the settings and the options you have chosen. If you want, you can make a copy of it and keep it with you just for the reference. You can sit back and relax here and let the installation do its job. It would take around 70 to 80 minutes to complete the installation. So yeah, grab a cup of coffee and sit back and enjoy the view. Let me fast forward the video to save you some time and not wait until the installation is completed. You can notice all the internal files or the installation files being read from the package, and it will either be stored in the temporary directory and eventually copied to the installation folder. checking database type, trying to establish the connection and prepare itself to copy all the tables into the schema. Alright, so once the installation is finished, we'll quickly go into the services and see if the Mocha service has been started or not. So for that, we go to services. Right hand pane, look for the Mocha service, and here we have the Mocha server and we see that it's running, which is good news. You can also go into the installation directory. In this case I have WMS, get in here to the less directory and look for logs folder. Get into logs and look for the Mocha installation files and look for a message which indicates that the service was started successfully. So that's all with the server installation. I hope you've got to learn something new today, and please do not forget to or hesitate to write back in the comment in case you have any questions. The more you spread the knowledge, the more you will get it back. So do not hesitate to share it with friends to whom you feel this could be helpful. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and auf Wiedersehen.